Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you're doing well and staying safe. It's Normal Guy of the North. I want to do a good review on a new Tier 6 French carrier. It's first of the line. This is the Bearn. And so this is me taking her out for the first time. This was an actual real live boat in World War II and had a history, albeit not a great one during World War II. But before we get there, let's talk a bit of what she was. The Bearn actually was a Normandy-class battleship from the Marine Nationale, or the French Navy. She was laid down during the 1920s and entered service in 1928. They just took a battleship hulk and put a flat deck on it and said, boom, aircraft carrier. During World War II, she'd be equivalent to an escort carrier for size and whatnot. She wasn't exactly a huge carrier. She was the only French aircraft carrier produced during the until after World War II. And the ship did play a minor role in the early stages of the war, training in home waters and conducting pilot training, but didn't really actually have an overall huge career, which I'll get to in a bit. So the first thing you're going to notice about the Bearn is that she has two types of armament for attacking. One is obviously dive bombers, which I've got right here, and the other is skip bombers. The dive bombers themselves, I'm going to say, are the biggest asset over the skip bombers. The reason being is I've already got 4 Citadels in this game, and I think I'm about to get my 5th. She is a Citadel machine, and there's the 5th. I believe in this game alone I got 21 in total. What I am surprised about, this is being operations. This is, which one is this? This is Aegis. I wasn't getting all that much AA, so she does okay against AA, and I did play her in several random battles. I did play a co-op battle to quickly see as well, but I played some random battles. So overall, I think she's good. The actual skip bombers, again, they're a bit of a shorter range compared to the Russian ones. So at the end of the day, if you're going to come in nice and slow, you are going to get into most people's AA bubbles. If you get up tiered and you're going to be against, say, Atlantas and other AA destroyers, or a Flint, you're going to have a hard time. I usually typically speed up, as I'm doing a bit now, and I can actually extend that range, which is not bad. Just to let you know, the skip bombs are a little bit slower compared to the Russian ones. So at the end of the day, you can launch, but adjust yourself to the speed of the ship. You got to kind of aim a bit more. You're also going to see here with the Northern group that I tried to turn into the Itchy. I'm going to give you a heads up to make sure I don't miss it. My skip bombs actually start swinging to the left as I turn to the right. So I may or may not have done that. It's just kind of, interesting. That would be realistic too. But for herself, going back to the Bearn, when we go back into May of 1940, the Bearn was used to ferry gold to purchase aircraft from the United States. But she was diverted to Martinique. That's an island in the French West Indies in the Caribbean. When the French armistice and the Germans were signed between each other in June, under pressure from the U.S., which worried about the Germans getting control of an actual aircraft carrier, even though she wasn't exactly all that great. The carrier remained there for the next 4 years to placate, or to appease, the Americans. The local commander agreed to have her immobilized in mid-1942. The Vichy French government ordered him to sabotage the ship in May of 1943, and he ultimately complied by having the Bearn run aground. But that's not the end of her story. Yeah, right here, watch this Itchy. I turn in really hard, activate. I thought I gave enough lead, and if you look to the left, the bombs kind of hit and then straighten out, so it's kind of weird. I may not have done that, but I was a little more careful going forward. I played some random games. I will say one thing. I do recommend dropping a set of aircraft later on. I mean, you can get away with your first 2 squadrons. So your first 2 squadrons of each, skip bombs and dive bombs, will work just well. I mean, you'll have enough planes. But after that, I would recommend dropping a plane set every time you get an opportunity to, so that way you have planes the last half of the game. I haven't actually had a problem, but I did get up tier once in a random game against Atlanta and a Flint, and yes, I did have a problem. It was chewing up my aircraft, so I ended up having to drop 2 at a time. AA boats can do a lot of damage to these aircraft. They're not a great health pool. But again, not bad. And if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, you can see I've just gone from 6 to 7 of 8 for dive bombers. Refreshing on the deck is quite good. I, for me personally, take all the captain skills that help all of my aircraft. I don't care about my carrier. My carrier is just a floating airport. It is what it is to me. So after she ran aground to be sabotaged, she was towed to Puerto Rico after the islands joined the Free French later that year for preliminary repairs that would allow her to steam under her own propulsion to New Orleans. New Orleans, what a great place. To be converted into an aircraft carrier, that's all she could do. There was enough escort carriers coming out. The port of Vancouver alone in Washington State, in Portland rather, Oregon, produced upwards of 50 escort carriers during the war. So the Americans were well on their way for this. By 1943, Americans were well on their way in the war and producing, so they didn't need the boat. Unfortunately, that conversion, as I mentioned, wasn't complete till early 45. On her first trip with loaded aircraft, she collided with another ship and had to divert to French Morocco for emergency repairs. Full repairs took 6 months, and she then transported personnel and equipment between metropolitan France and French North Africa for the next several months. Basically, she didn't see any action in World War II at all. She just sat idle. Now, I have not had a game where I've been down-tiered, where I have Tier 5 and Tier 6 boats. Be nice, or Tier 4 rather. I think it'd be nice, but I didn't. I've always been Tier 6 or above, mostly Tier 6 or 7. I would say she can hold her own. As long as you manage your aircraft, it's fine. Even though you're getting a lot of Citadels, and spoiler alert, I'm going to get 14 more Citadels for 21. I'm not going to get up the high ranking that you might see for damage. I'm sure there are obviously better players than me. I'm not an aircraft carrier player. I get aircraft carriers so I can learn how to play them and develop attack strategies and strategies to combat them. So it's more of an educational purpose for me. I'm not looking to become a Super Unicom CV player in any way, shape, or form. And to be honest with you, anything above this I don't typically play in randos because CVs are the bane of my existence, but as a DD player. But overall, I'm going to say she's not a bad CV. I do like her. She's kind of fun. You can get aircraft launched up. They're pretty fast. Again, not like Russian CVs. We've got one drop. You can usually get 2 or 3 off. Now, the arming time from hitting go from the left mouse button to the time you can drop is very short. I mean, you've seen the British. You can get, quite a bit of time with the British drops in the same thing for dive bombing and Russians as well. Russians can be a little shorter, but this one is actually quite short. Now, after the war, in October of 45, the ship sailed for French Indochina with aircraft, material, and supplies as the French planned to reassert control over their Japanese-occupied colony. That would be Vietnam and whatnot. So colonialism was alive and well after the war. Again. The Bearn remained there for an entire year before returning home, where she was immediately replaced in reserves. Now, 2 years later, the ship was reactivated as a flagship with the Marine Nationale Submarine Anti-Submarine Group, and also served as a submarine tender. In 1960, the Bearn was hulked and served as a barrack ship. That means that she was gutted from all armament and just put racks in, just like HMCS Cape Breton was for me in my time in the Navy on the West Coast. Got to sleep in the CO's cabin, long story. And she was a ship from World War II that's now an artificial reef. And there goes a really good set of Citadels. Again, not a lot of damage, but good damage. In 1960, after I told you, she became a barrack ship until she became an uneconomical, that a replacement vessel was constructed in 1966, and then she was therefore then sold for scrap. And that's the end of the entire French explanation of an aircraft carrier for World War II, which is kind of sad. Now, the one good thing I do like about this is the speed of the aircraft. It's pretty good. You can go pretty fast in this compared to other ships. I'm talking about the Ark Royal, the British line with the Swordfish, and I'm talking about the German line. Even cruising's pretty good. When you speed up, it's even better. She does have, like I said, good squadron health. Oh, and the one last thing I want to point out here, which I almost forgot, and I apologize. If you look down at the letter T, I've got 6 fighters. I can get upwards of 8, I believe it is, for fighter deployment, which just blew me away. I'm constantly laying out fighters, and they last well over the 1 minute timeline, which is fantastic. So if you want to drop fighters in a faraway distance for DDs or caps, they stay there, and they're quite nice. One of the things I wish wargaming would add to aircraft is the ability to lay smoke. That was a thing during World War II for torpedo bombers. It'd be nice if you could lay smoke out for destroyers and whatnot, especially if they're going to cap and whatnot, or you want to protect something. There's a lot of destroyers out there, you know, French, IKEA boats, the new German boat line that don't have smoke and could really use it to help. More of a support role thing, but that's just me personally. And if you look at my numbers in the bottom right-hand corner, I'm actually doing quite well. Like, I have a lot of aircraft. Again, just watch out for AA boats. They can rip these squadrons apart, or groups of other ships with priority sector. So overall, I'm going to say that this boat is quite nice. I do like it. It's not too offensive as a CV. It's kind of fun. It's not like the Ark Royal. Ark Royal is a Tier 6 CV with Tier 4 aircraft. So anyway, it becomes a problem later on in the game, and you get, you know, your aircraft shut up beyond belief because they're biplanes. Again, good fun in operations. As I said earlier, I'm not exactly a CV player, so I'm going to leave you the rest of the replay. It's fun. Overall, I give this a nice rating, and do I think it's worth the money that I paid for it? Which I think for me was doubloons, and I have tons of doubloons. I would say yes, it was, so it didn't cost me anything. It was a free premiumship for me. So I will take a screenshot quickly of my captain skills, and I'm going to put them in here so you guys can see it and interject it so you have an idea of what I use for captain skills. But other than that, I'm going to ask you to stay safe, take care, and I wish you all the best, and look forward to seeing everyone in the year 2022. This might be my last repay, I'm not sure, or review. I'm not sure yet. I've got a whole new series coming out on captain skills and for how to 5-star operations, which I'm doing right here. But on that, take care. Bye for now, and wish you all the best. Stay safe. Bye.